So in this second video, I'm going to talk briefly about a good experience I had last Thursday when I went to Pizza Express with two of my good friends. This was a really big thing for me on several fronts, really. First of all, as I've talked about elsewhere about friendships, I spent from the age of 12 until 26, 27 without any friends because of my problems making friends at school and things like that. And now I do have a couple of good friends. It's actually taken me a little while to actually really feel, secure in that friendship. And I think I can say I have actually started to feel a connection with these people, and I can really feel that the friendship is developing, and that is kind of like, it's quite exciting for me. It's also a little bit nerve-wracking because I spent so many years of my life without any friends. It's quite hard for me to really accept actually I do have friends, and that this is a really positive development in my life. All my friends now, they're all autistic. I don't have any neurotypical friends, and I do find it easier, generally speaking, to relate to other autistic people. I think simply because we're in the same, we're experiencing similar issues. And with autistic people, they don't have the same expectations that neurotypicals have. So we don't have any of this, you have to make eye contact. Like, they don't care if I make eye contact or not, because there's none of that obligation. It's great. If I want to, I can rock. I could be myself. It's fantastic. I mean, I still do put on a certain degree of masking. I think I would do that, whenever I'm in company with other people, because, to put it mildly, if I didn't mask, they probably would get quite fed up with me after a while, because my true unmasked self, which only my dad sees, is quite dominating, and I will end up just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, because that's easier for me, because obviously socialising, it does involve a lot of energy. And so I do, even amongst my autistic friends, I still have to put on some of the mask, because, it's part of a friendship to obviously try and be reciprocal. That's just part of the friendship rules, and that's something I have learnt. It doesn't come naturally to me always, but it's something I have learnt, and I do try and put into practice as much as I'm able to. And also, of course, I am, for an autistic person, and this is, again, one of the stereotypes about autism, is that autistic people aren't interested in others. And I think sometimes it can appear that way. And I know my parents in the past have often said, Anna, I've said, you just don't take an interest in other people, you just think about yourself, or can you stop talking about yourself and listen to others? And I think sometimes, because it is hard for, autistic people to be reciprocal, and I guess our natural default position, when I'm 100% not masking when I'm with family, because I can only mask for so long, because it is exhausting, and I do sometimes just like to have a good monologue, and I just like to talk about my interest to a willing listener. And I think my dad is often that person who has to listen to my monologues, and he does get annoyed with it sometimes. But I do have to have that outlet, because it is very, very hard masking. But I am interested in other people. It's just that it is hard for me, because I do get very easily distracted. I've got all these thoughts going on in my head, so I do often, I'll have to ask people to repeat themselves, because I want to take in all the information. I need to have all the details. I need to collect the information about a person's life. I'm almost a little bit like an amateur psychologist. My friends actually call me the psychologist, because they know, because I am very, I do ask, I want to know the information, almost like I'm a bit like a psychoanalyst sometimes. So I do want to know about other people's lives. I have to sometimes try and get the balance right, because I am aware that I would like to ask loads and loads of questions, to get all the details and things. And but I don't think they mind, because they're autistic as well, and I think that's why I get on with them better, because neurotypical seem to have more of these social expectations. With other autistic people who also aren't that fussed about small talk and stuff, you can get into the nitty gritty, and you can ask these deep questions, and they're cool with it. So I only need to mask a very small amount, just to ensure, I don't dominate, and I do ask questions and so on. But so this was a really positive development. So last Thursday, I went to Pizza Express with two of my autistic good friends. And I tried a new food item. This was not easy for me. I was really anxious beforehand, because I hadn't been to Pizza Express for years and years and years. The last time I went was with my support worker, and that was a really long time ago. So that was all nerve-wracking. But I tried some bruschetta, I wish I'd actually had a pizza margherita, but maybe next time I have a pizza margherita. But I actually tried bruschetta because I was being brave, and I thought to myself, well, I haven't tried this before. And like I said before, there's an experimental side of me that does actually quite like trying new things, as long as it's connected to my interests, and as long as I'm in control of it. And it's difficult for me, and it causes anxiety, but there is part of me that does like a challenge, and feels good about break and saying, like, I'm not listening to this anxiety, I'm in control here, and well, look, I'm doing this, and I don't, anxiety can get lost, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. So there is that part of me that is experimental when it comes down to my interest, as long as I'm in control, as I say. So I went and had a bruschetta, which I hadn't had before. It came with pesto, tomatoes and onions. As I say, it was okay, but next time I think I will have a pizza. But the main thing is that I tried something new. We then went to a tea room, which a nice quiet tea room that we often go to. And I was with them for almost 6 hours, and that just shows that I get on well with them because to be with someone for that amount of time, I obviously have to be comfortable with the person. And we chatted, and we were sitting down, and I think that helps because of my issues with processing information. I find it very hard walking and talking with someone at the same time because there's too much stimuli around me to kind of process. But when I'm sitting down in a quiet environment, I can really get focus, like monofocus on the person I'm with, and that helps me then. It makes me feel more relaxed. And usually I find groups of people quite difficult. They often say two's company, three's a crowd, and that is usually the case for me because I end up feeling left out. But with these two friends, I think because our personalities mesh quite well, and none of them are dominant or anything, and I think I actually found I felt really good in their company in this particular triad, and that doesn't always happen. So that was quite interesting. I didn't feel left out. I felt included, and we had a good conversation, and I think we were all included in that conversation. So yeah, as I say, I think our personalities just happen to mesh very, very well, and we've got similar types of autism, and we've similar issues, and I think that helps. Because obviously I won't get on with every single autistic person. It goes without saying, there are some autistic people who our personalities don't mesh at all, and we just will end up setting each other off. So, it's a very individual thing. It's just that generally I find I get on better with autistic people than neurotypicals because of the understanding. We had a good time, and it's interesting finding out about them and having a good chat, and I wasn't too tired by it. I mean, at the end, I think the adrenaline finally hit me when I was walking home, and my legs start to turn to mush, and I get sort of almost like panic attacks type feelings. They went as soon as I got home. That has happened to me before after extended social interaction, and I think it kind of catches me unawares. I think I'm okay, but then the anxiety kind of catches up on me, or maybe it's just energy, I don't know. It's quite hard for me to understand what's going on in a moment. Afterwards, in hindsight, I could think, yeah, it probably was anxiety, but at the time, it's kind of like, whoa, what is this? It's kind of like this adrenaline, it kind of comes over me, and it makes my legs feel like really heavy, and it's like hard to walk, and then I feel really out of control. But as soon as I got home, I was absolutely fine again. So I think it's just that feeling out of my comfort zone. It's not very nice. It's horrible when anxiety happens like that. But like I say, it was a good time, and I'm really, really glad. And I do quite like socialising with people I like and get on with well. As I say, I think for an autistic, I'm relatively extroverted. So yeah, it was a really, really good time. And it just, it's really good that now I do have a couple of friends, and it just shows that autistic people can make friends. It's just as long as they're with people that they feel accept them for who they are. And I think, that's not to say I won't get on with any neurotypical. I'm sure there are neurotypicals out there I can form very good friendships with, but only if they really understand my issues, understand my autism. They have to have 100% full acceptance. I find it difficult being with anyone that I feel doesn't 100% accept me. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed listening.